Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Apex Racing TV. Here for the penultimate round of the season. We're in the United States of America here at Road Atlanta. I'm your host Matthew Duffin, joined in the commentary box once again by Aaron Smith and our fantastic broadcaster Joshua Wiki as well. I believe I've read that right. Apologies, Josh. I haven't. Wilkie. There we go. Thank you, Joshua. We are in the United States of America, though, here for Road Atlanta for the penultimate round of this sports car season. What a season it has been. It has provided a lot of dramas and a lot of thrills and spills, but there is 2 weeks left to go, and we couldn't think of a better circuit, Aaron, to be at than this.
Yeah, most people know Road Atlanta. It's one of the most famous racetracks, not only in the continent of North America, but just across the entire world. And we can go through a little tour of the track, as we always do. Turn 1 is definitely one of the most tricky corners on this entire track. It's nearly flat in higher downforce cars, but in these GT cars, it's a pretty harsh braking zone coming into this corner. It's a bit blind as well. That's a fairly common theme at this track. Not an easy overtaking opportunity at all into there. Then the uphill blind corners of turns 2 and 3. It's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of this track. I absolutely hate that corner. Then coming down into the S section, which is a very, very fast and admittedly very satisfying section. It's just about flat in these cars. All the way through to turn 5, you need to use all of the track on the outside. Get on that curb. Don't be afraid to use it. And then you get a small break running down that back straight all the way down to turn 6. The double 90-degree corners of turn 6 and 7. Turn 7 tends to be the more tricky one out of the two. Definitely more difficult to get a good exit as it impacts you all the way down this long straight. Possibly the best overtaking opportunity on the entire track, without a doubt. Slipstreaming your way all the way down and then downhill into this hard braking zone for this chicanes of turn 10A and 10B. North America moment in the corner names there. Unfortunate, but it is a very, very satisfying track indeed. Exiting the last chicane, coming down here, flat all the way down the hill, round the last corner, onto turn 12, and then across the start-finish line for what is a fairly short lap time most of the time. I think in the likes of the prototypes, you're going to be doing, low 1 minute 12s, and in these cars, it's going to be a little bit longer. In the practice sessions right now, it's about a minute and a half for the TCRs, and then about 1 minute 26:25 for the GT4s. So a fairly short track, and should provide some pretty good racing as well.
Should provide some fantastic racing as you go through this lovely circuit here in North America, I might say. Loving the corner names of 10A, 10B. Typical American corner names. We can, though, take a look at the championship standings. Like we say, with 2 weeks to go, it is going well if you're in that GT4 Pro category for Lucas Tailman, then, who has a good lead over Pascal Sticks, and there is no Pascal Sticks once again tonight. In fact, no, I believe there is a Pascal Sticks. It was Carter Lundy who missed last week and is missing today as well. Luca Nadeo is P4 with Mike Plausch P5. Francois Strat is in 6th place. Lewis Ward had a up and down season. He's had moments where he's shown brilliance and moments of disaster for him. He's P7. Desi is P8 with Luca Phillip in 9th, and Adam Brown rounds out that top 10, and you see the rest of the drivers all the way down 16th or on the scoreboard and hoping to break into that top 10 in the championship. The GT4 AMS, it's Dominic Engel who is really getting a grasp on this championship now. He leads from Rampazoo by a decent amount of points. Then it's Ronald Grossman, in P3, Nicholas Herpo P5, Rowan Eaton's in 5th place, Herpo is 4th. Lars Frisecki is P6, Maxime Dubas is 7th, Rennie Grob P8, Toby Jones P9, and Hendrik Zalike is in 10th place. Excuse me.
And we are going to move on to the TCRs now. And so it's Graziano who's kind of running away with it at the moment. Bit unfortunate that the other cars have just not been as good and as consistent as him. They have on occasion been just as good, if not quicker than him, but he's just always been up there, whereas the likes of Damian Harris, Tranquillin on occasion have just faltered away, maybe had an incident, a poor qualifying. And well, Graziano, you have to say, definitely is looking like the favourite to take this TCR Pro Championship, and then everyone else as well just has not quite been on the same level as the top 4. Then going into the TCR AMS, it's looking probably like our closest championship, to be honest. San Martin he's had a bit of an awkward last few rounds after dominating the early few. De Silva and Gardner have managed to catch up just a little bit. You've got Relay as well, who managed to take victory last time out at the Nordschleife. Did throw a right spanner in the works, did the Nordschleife, as we expected. And it's decently close in the TCR AMS. I thought it would be a lot more spread out than it actually is. The top 6 really fairly close, and then you've got Viola, who's almost half the points away from those guys, and they do have a little bit of catching up to do. Probably not possible with the amount of rounds we have left. But now we're going to move on to the teams championships, and I believe we're going to have the GT4s first. It's fairly close between Core Sim Racing and Delatraz Automotive at the top. They just about eke ahead with 13 points at the top, and then, well, everyone else, yeah, they it's quite a big gap. I don't think it's quite going to be possible for them to catch up anytime soon. It's just basically the top 2, and then everyone else is kind of fallen off the wayside.
And in the TCR Championship standings for the teams, then it is the ADX Racing Esports who just have a slender lead over Firebird Sim Racing, and they have a 4-point gap over Mag Performance SRT. North Sim Racing possibly still in with this shout of being able to win this team's championship, but it's got to be a lot of work for them guys to do if they are to get this one done. Wave Italy Racing, though, are dropping off the back, as is everybody else down in that top 16. So really, you're looking at that top 4 in the TCR category for the team's championship, and that's a real good fight going into the final 2 races of the season, knowing that you have that opportunity of 4 teams to potentially win it. It's really been, and as you said, the TCR AMS especially have been fantastic to watch this season.
They really have, and I genuinely think we could have gotten a big championship in the GT4 Pros, but just some people maybe not turning up at some of the rounds, and some of them not turning up in terms of performance has just let Tailman kind of run away with it, to be honest. And like you mentioned when we were going through the championship standings, he definitely looks like the favourite, and with no Lundy turning up again, I can't really see the Belgium driver losing out on that championship, if I'm going to be honest. He is looking rather comfy.
He is looking rather comfy, but he didn't look rather comfy last week, Aaron. He didn't have it all his own way. He really seemed to struggle at the Nordschleife. And Pascal Stix looked fantastic throughout that entire race. He was really good. One thing that I'm sort of wondering this season was last week Pascal Stix showing his best, Tailman possibly just wanting to bank them points?
Possibly. Of course, we did have an interview with some of these guys last week, and Stix was saying that he did put a lot more time into the Nordschleife, and well, it looks like he might have put a lot more effort into this week as well, as he's currently sitting on pole position, and looks like Grossman as well. We talked about this last week when we were at the Nordschleife. Grossman was surprisingly good. I mean, he led GT4 AM the entire way, but was second overall, which, I mean, is just absolutely incredible for the entire race. It was just Grossman and Stix just blasting away from everyone else. And at the moment, Stix is top of the pros and well, Grossman's top of the AMs. And it seems like last week has really given those two a boost.
It does indeed. And like you say, we didn't really see much of Stix and Grossman last week because of the fact they were so far ahead. And they wasn't really close to each other. 2 tenths separate it today. It's Plausch who separates them two in the timing screens at the moment, as Engel now goes within 3 tenths of Grossman in this qualifying session. But like you say, Grossman really stepped up another level. He did say in his interview afterwards that he enjoys the Nordschleife. He really seemed to gel with that circuit and do well with it. But yeah, it's a completely different kettle of fish this week. He's gone from that tricky Nordschleife circuit to here at Road Atlanta. Now, you say famous, I think you said during the track explanation. I don't know too much about this track. Never really seen it. So, yeah.
That's fair enough. I mean, on sim racing at least, it is quite famous. A lot of people really do like this track, and I mean, of course, Petit Le Mans is definitely the most famous race that comes through here, both on iRacing and in real life. I think in real life it is just as famous as it is on the sim. Of course, IMSA, like I mentioned, come here every single year, along with a lot of other racing series as well. And I mean, I know it's famous and a lot of people like it. I'm in the minority that don't, so I understand that I'm one of the few people that don't really like this track, mainly because that first sector, I just can't. The rest of the track is fine. Love the rest of the track, but
is it because from are you speaking from like a driver point of view that you don't like it because
yes.
of the first sector? There we go. As a spectator.
Oh yeah, it's fabulous.
Oh, brilliant! So there we go. Yeah, as a spectator, it's one of the best. As a driver, no, don't like it. As is the way with many a circuit, you know, Alton Park and Snetterton in the United Kingdom. I can't stand to drive on, but to watch, they're brilliant. So I completely understand that one, and I'm sure many of our viewers will understand that as well. That as a driver, tracks can be horrible. When you watch a race there, you can love it. And yeah, I'm sure if that's how you feel about this one, then I understand the feeling of this circuit. And probably, yeah, I know where you're coming from with that one. But we are coming to the end of the qualifying period now, and there is a few drivers just completing their laps. Tailman now moves up to P2 in class, only half a tenth quicker than Plausch. So he's done very well there. And I think Grossman improved at the end because he went 5 tenths quicker, half a second quicker than Eaton. In that, sorry, that's Eaton in 4th place, I believe. I was reading him in 2nd, so apologies there. He's 3 tenths quicker than Engel, so he did not improve. But it's Pascal Stix who is pole position in that GT4 Pro, with Grossman taking the GT4 AM. Tranquillin took TCR Pro, and De Silva the TCR AM pole position. We'll give you the full rundown of the grid order momentarily then, as we get ready for this penultimate race. It's back to that 60-minute race as well, not the 90 minutes of the Nordschleife last week. Back down to 60 minutes this week, and I believe it is 60 minutes for the season finale next week. Yes, it is at Spa, so going to be absolutely fantastic to see these two races unfold.
Yeah, definitely. And Road Atlanta, I think, definitely would suit as being 60 minutes. And last time out, again, the Nordschleife is one of those tracks where, again, you can understand it being longer. It's a long track. It was preparing each of the drivers for the weekend as well, for the 24 hours of Nordschleife. And, well, good luck to everyone who did the Nordschleife anyway.
Yeah, good luck to everyone, and well done to those who did it at the weekend. Pascal Sticks is your pole sitter from Lucas Tailman. GT4 AM leader is Ronald Grossman, P3 overall. Great pace from him these last 2 weeks. Mike Plausch, P4 with Francois Strat, 5th place. Desi is P6. Dominic Engel then for the GT4 AM's P7. That is P2 in class from Jacopo Rampazzu. Rowan Eaton is P9 with Leo Duvlet in P10. Maxima Dubas is P11 with Toby Jones, P12. 13th place then is Nicholas Herpo with Hendrik Zelke in P14. Rene Grob, 15th place with Dan Carpenter. 16th, then we head into the TCRs. It is Andy Tranquillin, the leader of TCR Pro and pole sitter in that pro category. He will go from 17th on the grid alongside Matteo Graziano. P19 is Carlos A. Riviera, and then 20th place Benjamin De Silva, the pole sitter in TCR AM. Gavin Gardner, best livery on the grid, stand by that 21st and 2nd in class from Lars Vila. Russ Fowler, P23 with Fabio Viola, 24. Bringing up the rear of the pack is Ian Manners from Andrew Dewhurst. Carlo Carli, 27th, with Samuli Kumo, P28. Gabriele Bonacorsi, TCR Pro, down in 29th. He'll line up on the back row with Dave Gilmore. And that is your grid order. Sticks versus Tailman on the front row going into turn 1. What will happen here, Aaron? Because Tailman has won every race bar 2 this season. I think he's took 3 out of the 5 races we've done so far. And he looks like the man to beat this season. But can race 6 go his way?
Well, you definitely think with him being the championship leader, you'd expect him to be the one to take that victory. But again, from what I saw last week, I'm not 100% sure. I think obviously he has a fantastic chance, but I mean, he just wants to get to the end of this championship now, and I don't know if he'll fight P1 that aggressively.
He'll want to obviously keep one eye on Pascal Sticks, who gained points on him over last week. But look at that, already out the final corner. We've not even got to the...
Oh, no!
There's a huge incident! And it is Tailman involved! Off the start line, Tailman and Grossman, the leader of GT4 AM, and the championship leader, as the TCR cars appear around the final corner to get their race underway, have both been involved in an incident over the start line. That is catastrophic, Aaron. Already dramas at Road Atlanta.
Well, I was definitely not expecting that, so I have to be honest. One of the only rounds I didn't really think that much would happen on this opening lap, and well, it's absolutely shocking what happens there, and we're obviously going to need to slap a replay on there as quickly as humanly possible. But yeah, there was another car involved. It was Grossman and Tailman. I think Tailman was either getting squeezed or was the one doing the squeezing. I'm not quite sure. Here is a replay of what happened. We'll quickly have a dabble of this.
Sticks absolutely drops the hammer, and look at that! It's Sticks' teammate who sticks a nose in early on, and then I believe I saw a yellow car, a yellow McLaren was behind Tailman. So is this what happened just behind the pink Rexy car? No, it's the yellow Porsche, loses it all on his own. Stay still. Oh, and then another one drops the rear in avoidance. And well, what can you say? It was a messy turn 1, and as Aaron says, as a driver, he hates that first sector, and I'm sure a few of these drivers may not like it tonight, but it's Pascal Sticks who probably cannot believe his luck. He'll be wishing there was more GT4 Pro cars on the grid, because he'll be taking a lot of points away from Tailman, but Tailman's only down in 5th due to only 5 GT4 Pros. Sticks, you know, he's going to gain a lot of points if it stays that way, but would have been hoping for more.
Yeah, the Sticks will be laughing all the way to the bank. He's got his teammate behind him as well, which is even better. So technically he's got 2 cars between himself and his next biggest rival. Herb Howe comes into the pits as well. Was relatively okay in TCR. And well, I was just talking about Mike Pallett. She's just had an off and is down all the way to 4th in GT4 Pro. And that looks to be on the exit of turn 5. Not quite sure what happened there. Wasn't really anyone around him, so that's going to be a own mistake for him. And well, Sticks is going to have an absolute huge lead. Let's see what happened. Was it just the bumps, or just got way too wide, far too wide through that corner? Got some air and ended up in the wall.
Yeah, not what I wouldn't advise all 4 wheels off the ground in a GT4 car, but Palish there then. He's got work to do to come back through and help his teammate. He did stay ahead of Tailman, who's had another mistake. Oh, and he's not going right for him. And I believe there's no rear wing on the back of his BMW M4. So that is a huge moment for Tailman. A replay again here. He's looking up the inside. He's already got the damage on his car. That must be from turn 1. And did he get a tap? He did. Got a tap. And is that from Grossman, who's given him the tap? Oh, wow. Yeah. And now, look, all the TCR cars are just going to flood past him. This is on board Tailman once again. Look, up over the curb. Great move. Just squeezes Grossman to the outside curb. And, yeah, Grossman into the rear quarter of Tailman there. But that is not what the championship leader would have wanted. Pascal Sticks, well, he probably can't believe his luck, but look at the damage to the back of that GT4 BMW. Aaron, what will he be feeling performance-wise with no rear wing on that car?
Sadness. Just pure and utter sadness from Lucas Tailman. I don't really think there's much he can do for the rest of this race. He has got to go a little bit longer in this race, I think, because I don't think the pit window opens for like another 10 or 15 minutes. So, you know, if he pit now, he would not make it to the end of the race. So he's just got to keep chugging along and just firm the damage. I mean, obviously, he's completely dead and out of this race. He's just going to have to hope for some retirements and just try and claw back as many points as he can. But that will do a significant dent in his championship hopes. And, well, maybe he does have an off round that he can still use, a drop round. We'll, of course, find that out next week when we do get the points back. Is Lucas Ville and Russ Fowler going wheel to wheel? This is very close between these guys. Very respectful so far. Ville seems to have gone very wide heading into the last chicane and might actually lose another position from Viola, and he has done. I don't know if Ville just tried to get way too late on the brakes, and oddly enough, his livery has a BMW badge on it, which is quite ironic considering he's running in a Hyundai. But Viola and Ville still going side by side. Ville's not giving this one up at all. Fair racing, bit of a door-to-door contact there, but again, that's what these cars are made for. And Viola, unfortunately, has to stay in 5th place. That was some good defensive driving by Ville. Keeps on to 4th place and has got a bit of work to do to catch back up to the Brit in front of him.
He has indeed. The two different Hyundais doing battle there. One thing on Tailman as well, he'll have his fast repair, I do believe, available to him when he does pit, so it might not be all doom and gloom in terms of sitting in the pits for quite the time. So we'll have to see on his progress through the race. But it's Rampazoo who leads in GT4, and Pascal Sticks is already pulling away from Desi in GT4 Pro. It's Tranquillin who's a second nearly ahead of Graziano in TCR and De Silva, the leader here in TCR as well. So Gavin Gardner currently 2nd place. I believe De Silva is 3rd place in the TCR category overall, just ahead there then of Gavin Gardner, and I assume that then is Riviera in the Hyundai in the Audi just behind that of. No, is it Riviera? No, it says Benjamin De Silva, the leader of TCR. No, Riviera is the car just in front. Apologies.
Getting some slight things wrong there. Are you feeling all right, Matthew?
No, we're under the weather. We're fine. It's cold just
to be fair, I'm feeling a bit fluey at the moment as well. We're not doing well in this country. It's too hot. It's cold. The weather doesn't make any sense.
When are Brits ever happy? And now it's gone too hot. Everybody's getting the flu, and it's like, yeah, brilliant. Brits are never happy with the weather. So yeah, 54 minutes. Be patient with us. We will get there at the end.
It's still got a long time to go. A long time for these drivers as well to go. And it looks like we're going to have a very interesting battle pretty much in every category bar GT4 Pro. I think in TCR Pro it might be a little bit more dead set as Tranquillin has just pulled a bit of a gap on Graziano. But GT4 AM, of course, it's not going to be Grossman taking victory this time. There is Tailman, unfortunately, with about half his car crumpled. And honestly, I don't think that car will be. I mean, it looks like it's about to be scrapped. If I'm going to be honest, that car has immense amount of damage on it, and could not. It could not feel good to drive at all. I really do pity Tailman, as it doesn't really look like either crash was really his fault. The second one was netcode, and the first one was just people being a bit silly.
Someone tried to go through the middle of a door that was always closing between Tailman and Grossman, but he comes into that final chicane as he's overtaking for position the TCR cars. Overall, don't forget, points are scored for class, not overall. So he will score 5th place points for his category, but that's going to hurt him. He's not going to want that at all, as there is Palash going up the inside of Dan Carpenter. That was for position, as well as the pink Rex. He just was that into the back of Carpenter there. Dubas, I think, just clipped the rear end of that McLaren in front. He's let him keep position. He didn't fight that one too hard to try and get up the inside. So maybe giving the place back there instead of receiving a penalty for Dubas as they come down the straight now. Good chance to get a bit of slipstream before breaking into that final chicane. Will he pull out and think of a little send-it manoeuvre up the inside? He's very late on the brakes, but no can do. The McLaren just as late, and keeping that gap nice and tight. There is the yellow Porsche just behind them as well, who's trying to keep in this fight with Dubas. Believe that is Rowan Eaton. Indeed it is. As they're all going to come through. The Swiss driver looking to put on a good performance today. He didn't have a bad outing last time at Nordschleife, if I remember.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent race from Eaton, but unfortunately Grossman was just unbeatable that weekend, to be honest. And Rowan Eaton, the driver in front of him, getting very squirrely, coming through the S section here in the first sector of Road Atlanta. And it is a difficult section, and nearly doing what Mike Polic did on the second lap of the race. Dubas seems to be struggling a lot, and I would not be surprised if Eaton tries to get past anytime soon. And Dubas really struggling at the moment as Eaton goes very wide coming through through turn 7. But Dubas, I'm really surprised he was managed to keep it on the road, considering how the car reacted with Polic. And well, he grabbed some massive air, and I think we're going to grab a replay of what happened to Leo Dovale, who I think has had some kind of incident. This is through turn 7, who we've already seen a couple incidents today. Yeah, that seems to be a very easy mistake. A lot of people making that today.
I wonder if that's the drivers trying to take too much speed through the corner, going wide, and understanding wide. Unfortunately, he didn't clip the wall like Palash did, we saw a little earlier on. So Dovale keeps that going and keeps that facing in the right way. As we're back with the Dubas and Eaton battle here. This is for 6th and 7th in that GT4 AM category. And like I say, Dubas just struggling a little bit as we see them come through this fantastic first section of the circuit, drop downhill before climbing back up. And let's see Dubas here again. The curbs seem very lethal as well. I noticed they seem quite high and they're hitting them hard. Now they seem to bounce the car all over the place. And all go through there for Dubas this time around. I believe that is Palace just in front, who was looking to go side by side with somebody else. As the camera pans through, he is. He's going side by side with the McLaren. Is that Toby Jones, I wonder? Just taps the rear quarter of him and gives him a flash of the light. Palash, you was not really alongside there. As Tailman's in the pit lane.
Yes, I'm not surprised. I think this might be the earliest time he is available to come in and actually make it to the end of the race. And I'm not surprised he was losing seconds per lap. I mean, huge bodywork damage, huge aero damage, of course, missing that rear wing on the back of his BMW. But now, like you said, he's got that fast repair, but he's going to have to stay a long time in the pit lane, unfortunately, to get that fuel. And I don't think he went up on the jets. I don't think he'll be taking tyres, as he now is a lap down, unfortunately. So yeah, we definitely won't be seeing Tailman really for the rest of this race. He just has to stay in it to try and maximize as many points as he can, and you can't blame the man at all. He is in a championship after all, so unless something absolutely magical happens to the Belgian, we will not be seeing him for the foreseeable future. But back to this battle then. Toby Jones is holding on nicely to 4th place in GT4 AM, holding up some of the GT4 pros behind him. Mike Polic is going to try go around the outside. Don't really see him move around there too often. It's super difficult unless you know you're faster than the guy ahead. And it looks like Mike Polic might lose a place to Dan Carpenter. And Mike Polic, definitely, you can feel the frustration growing within him. He's definitely not happy about the situation he's currently in, as this is Johns trying to defend from Carpenter, but Carpenter storms right on through up into 4th place. That was very opportunistic from the Brit. Is Mike Polish finally going to get past that McLaren? Bit of contact there, and Mike Polish just has to back out. It looks like not quite sure. Maybe Toby Johns is a little bit upset with something Mike Polish has done, because he seems to be defending quite aggressively from the German. Remember, they are in 2 separate categories, of course. One's a pro, one is an AM. And Polish, of course, is a far quicker driver. And Tailman's still in the pits. I'm not quite sure what's going on with him, since he's been in the pits for about a lap and a half now. Has he given up on this race?
Well, we'll see what happens as the race develops, and hopefully he'll return to the track, but he's 2 laps down now. And like you say, Toby Johnson just defending from Palic a little bit too much. He's obviously lost that place now in category, which puts him down to P5. He's now got Dubas and Eaton on the back of Palic as well. So other AM cars coming into this fight here, and Palic going around the outside once again. Hasn't worked for him so far on the previous 2 laps, and we'll try and get that switch back now, and parks beautifully on the apex here from Toby Johnson. But he doesn't really need to be fighting this one. It is a little strange and a little weird, but Dubas and Eaton now could easily take the place. We've already just seen Dan Carpenter go through. So for Dubas and Eaton, could they also make up a place? They are following that slipstream. A train now behind Toby Johns as they come down towards the chicane at the end of the lap. And here comes Palish, going to try and look up the inside at the first part of the chicane. Johns gives him plenty of room and respect. Probably compromises his run though, because now that has allowed for Rowan Eaton to go around the outside of Dubas. And now he's going to try and go around the outside of Toby Johns as well. And Johns just overly defending here. That's going to allow Eaton to go a little wide. Dubas is now going to come back at Eaton, and it's as we were, apart from the fact that Palish has got past Toby Johns. So Johns really just compromising himself and a few others that lap. He really was in a fight he didn't need to be in as Dubas closes through this early section and has another wobble bouncing over them high curbs. But as we are, Palish gets ahead of Toby Johns, Dubas and Eaton stay 6th and 7th in class as well. So all good at the moment, but it is Ramsey who is gone. 8 seconds in the lead. Sticks leads by 4 seconds in GT4 Pro. Tranquil in. Where's this pace been from the Honda all season? 3.3 seconds clear of Graziano, and it is De Silva who is only 2/10 clear of Gavin Gardner at the moment in TCRM. Great little fight though there, Aaron.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff to watch. And well, obviously as a driver, you know, if I stick my little driver hat on, I would say what Johns is doing is a bit silly, to be honest. But from an entertainment point of view, it's absolutely fantastic. And speaking of entertainment, Gavin Gardner there, almost going on 2 wheels, heading through turn 7, turn 5, excuse me. And well, we've seen that a couple of times today. Will we see it again at some point and someone also have a massive off? As some drivers have come extremely close to doing that, and you know, Gavin Gardner just nearly became the newest victim of turn 5, but managed to keep it going. It's very close between himself and De Silva. De Silva's been a little bit less dominant than he was last time out. As
Aaron, apologies, Ramsu's lost 8 seconds worth of time here. Douglas is on the back of him by 0.6 of a second. So while he was mentioning that about the TCRM drivers, Douglas here is right on the back of Rampazoo. What has happened to the TCRM leader? He had an 8-second lead.
I don't think. I think you were reading the gap from Rampazoo to Engel, which is 8 seconds. It didn't come up with Dovale on the previous lap. It only came up to 3rd, so I think that's...
You're correct. Well done. Just making sure you was aware. Yep. No, good for you. Just making sure you're on the ball
just
here.
testing me. Yeah. Just course. And Dovale, though, is going nicely and is only 4/10 behind Rampazoo. He's also got Strat in the GT4 Pro category just behind him. And while Pascal Sticks looks to be on for a comfortable victory in GT4 Pro, extremely comfortable. I'd say maybe a little bit more comfortable than it was last week, because well, at least last week he had Grossman for a little bit this race, and Well, Styx is already lapping some of the TCRs, which traffic should be a bit of an issue here. Last week they had no traffic, and this week is going to be the complete opposite. A very, very short track. A lot of incidents as well that we've seen today. Varying levels of performance as well. Bit wide there from the Audi in front of him. But I mean, yeah, Tailman also has exited the sim. He's gone.
We are race. So
we're never seeing him again. No, I think it's if you finish more than 2 laps down, you don't get any points. And hello, this is Dubat and Eaton again. They're going wheel to wheel, and Eaton, I think, is the driver that's managed to get past.
Yeah.
Very good job from Eaton, and finally gotten past the Frenchman, and now can try and set his sights on the McLaren ahead.
He can indeed. To DeBas losing out there to Eaton. A great clean move as well. Good respect shown by both drivers. So if that is no points for Tailman and Pascal Styx win this race, well, that will be a huge chunk taken out of that championship lead going into Spa next week. That's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on for sure. But it is Toby Johns now who will have Rowan Eaton on the back of him in GT4 AM. And that gap between Silver and Gavin Carter, 0.5 of a second. We'll also keep an eye on Rampazoo and Duvlay here in GT4 AM as well. But Eaton, man on the move at the moment. He's behind Toby Johns, the Englishman, as they come through into turn 1. Again, a little wide there for Johns, wider than he'd have wanted to be. And Eaton doing a great job of just sticking to the back of that McLaren. And a lot of these corners come uphill are pretty blind as well as you come over the crest. And like I say, there was no lap traffic last week. For these GT4 cars, they're going to find that lap traffic a few times, I'd imagine.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to see a couple times as John's really struggling. He seems to just not have the pace at all. I noticed when Palic was stuck behind John's that he was losing an immense amount of time, and that's contact. Big contact, and somehow they've managed to keep it on the track. And John's is... I mean, this man is absolutely shocking me today. He's had a lot of contact from Palic already, and now Eaton has completely just shoved him up the rear. And somehow, I mean, it's probably done more damage to Eaton's car, the front nose of that Porsche looking a little bit worse for wear, as Johns goes very defensive, but cannot manage to completely cover that inside line. It's harsh but fair racing between these two at the moment, as Eaton now dies up the inside. This should be the position for the Swiss driver, and it is indeed. He's gotten himself into 5th place, and good driving from the 232. And Johns, although it has been very strange driving etiquette at times, he is within the rule book for now. Just it has been some questionable driving, but I mean, like I said, from a driver's point, I'd be calling him silly, but from an entertainment point, it's absolutely amazing. And he's putting a massive smile on my face, so I'm not complaining whatsoever. As here is Nicholas Herpau, who's not had the best of races so far, coming up to lap some of the TCRs. And I believe this
yes, it is.
I believe it, yeah, because they've already come through, surely, yeah, because they're slow.
We have actually been saying that. We haven't seen DeBas or Toby Johns or Eaton lap these cars. So I think this is her pal or position.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I don't think these are a lap down. He was a minute 1 off of Rampazoo's lead. So yeah, he's not putting a lap on them yet. That's how bad he's struggling. So I wonder if that's what from one of the turn 1 incidents, the French driver, and this is the section of the circuit that he's really not wanting to lap these TCR cars. The TCRs look like they ride the curbs a lot better. So this is turn 1. And I believe he drops the rear all on his own. No, he's through 1. Oh, received a bit of a tap as Cars was avoiding. That was Palish, I do believe, who was avoiding the spinning car. So he's got a bit of damage on the rear. I wonder if he's been into the pit lane to possibly repair that damage.
Yeah, definitely.
Take a look at the timing screen at the minute.
Yeah, he has been into the pits, yeah. So that would explain a lot why he is so far down the order. And unfortunately, it does mean that I believe he will have to come into pit again, because I mean 4 seconds, that's not enough, let's be honest. So yeah, he's gonna have to come in again. So it looks like Herpau's gonna be finishing down the order very much so in this race, and possibly could get lapped by the GT4 leaders later on in this race. This is for position in TCR. This is Vile trying to catch back up to Fowler, and he has done. As remember, he was battling with Viola just at the start of this race. So Vila has done pretty well at the moment to catch back up to the Brits, and now has the chance to overtake him. I still find it funny that he has a BMW badge on the front of his Hyundai. It just looks utterly strange, to be honest. But
Ross Fowler got past Rampazoo. Apologies, Aaron. That's just been a change for position. And the captain by half a second. While you were saying that, we should. This is Duvlay now. A flash of the lights from Rampazoo behind. Was he pretty convinced by that overtake? I'm not sure. And that is Francois Strat, I believe, for position just behind the the GT4 Pro driver, who is P3 in class, stuck behind these two on the podium for GT4 AM. And a replay here of that overtake of Duvlay on Rampazoo then. So coming down the back straight towards the chicane, Mercedes versus Mercedes. He's going to try and squeeze one up the inside. Was there a little bit of contact? I don't think so. But Rampazoo clearly feeling that was not really on from Duvlay behind. That's a good move for me, to be fair.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. And maybe he just wasn't expecting it, or maybe he's just saying, you know, maybe we should work together. I'm not quite sure there, but it looks like this battle is not going to end anytime soon. And the Italian is going to want to get himself back in front of the Frenchman. They're both Mercedes, so no car advantage here. And they'll have to watch out for Strat as well, who's going to have a front row seat of this battle. He is in a different class. This isn't for position. As here goes Rampazoo up the inside of Dovalet. Dovalet doesn't fight it. He just lets him through nice and calmly up the inside. And while they swap positions, maybe this is just going to be a continuing theme. They'll just keep on going for the rest of this race. And it's a fantastic battle between those two. And they seem to be pretty much spot on pace with each other. And with Grossman 25 seconds behind these guys, it's given us a fantastic battle for the lead of GT4M.
It has indeed. Now, Grossman and Grob have both got past Toby Johns. He's now no longer on that time screen. I wonder what's happened to Toby there.
He had an issue.
Has he had a problem? Hopefully still going in this race. But like I say, a great chance for these boys to be battling it out for the lead of GT4, and with Grossman 25 seconds behind, it's going to be fantastic to see if he can try and catch up as much as he can. Obviously involved in a couple of incidents with Tellman in this race. Here is Dubasa at the moment. Rowan Eaton lap GTR cars. This is Rowan Eaton and Toby Johns then. Eaton, who is well ahead of Toby Johnson. This is probably an off-track.
That's very wide.
Off-track down the hill. And then Toby Johnson. Oh, big snap into the wall. Oh, he said he looked like he was struggling, Aaron, and he's had a big moment coming down the hill. Let's take a look at that one more time. This is on board with Toby Johnson. Over the curb through the left-hander. Car doesn't seem to be too unsettled at the moment.
I think he gets distracted.
It just doesn't turn. Yeah, just doesn't turn and then onto the grass. And that is huge damage. Well, shame for Toby Johns. Doesn't look like he had the pace today, and now he's got some damage to go with. That's going to be a bummer for him down in 10th place, but he's still near enough 30 seconds clear of her post, so he's still got a huge gap behind him if he is to finish this race in P10 for Toby Johns. And Herpo 1:04 still off that lead in GT4 AM. And it really is that gap at the top of GT4 AM for the leaders, because all the other leaders in all the other categories are well out in front. And I'm just double checking, they are well out in front of P2.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even notice Gavin Gardner has already come in for his pit stop. I was wondering why the gap in TCR AM was so big. I was very confused for a second. I was like, hang on, I thought they were close to each other. But no, don't worry. Gavin Gardner has come in for his first pit stop. And, well, we've said this a couple of times this season already, and I'll say it again. That livery is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know what it is about pink and that shade of blue. And, of course, it has the Union Jack on top of the car, so why would I not like it? It's amazing. And I don't know, it just suits the shape and body of the car as well. It blends so nicely. It's good job from Next Gen. Really nice.
Very good job from Next Gen Racing. So they have done a fantastic job with that livery. As they are, that's a big lunge to put a lap on a TCR car from the driver behind. I believe that is Rowan Eaton. Yeah, 'cause that's Carpenter just putting a lap now on Gavin Gardner. And that was was it? No, I don't think it was Eaton.
It's a car that looks like Eaton.
Yeah, same car. Rene Grob, who's now into the pit, so he's in for his pit stop. Just before the halfway mark of the race, this is where we might see drivers really start to come in over these next couple of minutes to get their pit stops done. And as we said, her power 4.4 seconds. He's going to have to pit again. You're not pitting that short to get to the end of this race.
No, I think that was definitely for damage for the BMW. And, well, that's the difficult thing about races like this is if you do end up getting damage and it's costing you, a lot of time per lap. Admittedly, it's not really worth pitting because you lose so much time anyway. You've got to pit again. You may as well just hang it out, and it will hurt, but it's what you got to do. And this is a fairly long pit stop from.
He went up the jacks there.
Yeah, he did. He did take tyres, which is what we have seen drivers take tyres. Again, I still need to ask if it's front or rears in the interview. I keep forgetting to do that, for God's sake. But Palic has now come into the pits as well, so perhaps we're starting to see drivers coming in for their pit stops now. Whether it's fuel, I doubt it's going to be tyres, to be honest. We're only 30 minutes into this race. Here is Eaton coming in as well, and Dubar following him behind. So yeah, looks like this is the point at which most people are going to start pitting.
Grossman into the pits as well, so a lot of drivers coming into the pit lane to see what to get their stops out of the way, and Grossman's going to want a decent stop here to make sure he can get back out on the circuit and score some good points in this race. The GT4's pulling the trigger on the pit strategy as we are 20 seconds away from the halfway stage of this race, and it's already been an action-packed night already with dramas early on. As the race has gone on, the cars have started to get a little spaced out a little bit, and there's not been as many dramas. Palace is now away, but it was really that start of the race that was the talking point here tonight, Aaron, between Grossman and Tailman, two championship leaders in their categories. It was drama, and we was, 5 feet over the line?
Oh, yeah. I'm genuinely thinking, were we even over the line? I think it was just on it, where they just went 3 wide. I think it was Palic who just snuck his nose up there, and I think you described it as someone coming in to a battle where that gap was always going to close, and I gotta say I fully agree with that. It was always going to close up on that first lap, and unfortunately caused that incident for Tailman and also Grossman. Grossman, of course, is still going in this race. Hasn't come into pit yet, though, so
yeah, he
expect
pitted
to see that sometimes. Oh, he has just pitted. Well, there you go. His Pascal Sticks, again, we're not really seeing much of him today, unsurprisingly. He's got a 10-second lead. He's just controlled this race absolutely superbly. Nice and calm driving from the Austrian, who, dare I say it, now could put himself in an outside chance of the championship heading into the final round next weekend at Spa. And well, if we thought this track is going to be crazy for racing, that is going to be even more insane.
It is indeed, and Pascal Sticks, we saw glimpses of what he could do at Imola, and we didn't get to see him at his best until the Nordschleife last week, and he's really carrying on that momentum and that form from last week into this one. He's really driving a great race. Tailman out this race, he's going to pick up a lot of points. He's about to put a lap on the pink Rexy car of Dubas, so but he's got to pit yet. Sticks has still got to pit. Grossman now up into 8th place, and he's only 5 seconds off the back of Rowan Eaton. 6 seconds off the back of Eaton, 5 seconds off the back of Dubas. So shows how much pace Grossman's got today, because he's gained that time with the damaged car. Now he's repaired that damage in the pit lane. He's come out pretty close and is looking to make up time in this second half of this hour-long race.
I think this second half, to be honest, is mainly going to be about people trying to fuel save, to be honest, as this track is a little bit tough on tyres, mainly because of just how high speed that first section is. It really does eat those tyres away, especially when it's just about flat in these cars. Maybe a tiny lift for the drivers who aren't as confident. But for drivers like Grossman, like Sticks, and like Tailman probably was doing during practice and qualifying, it's definitely flat for those guys. But Now, out comes Ross Fowler. Of course, he was one of the drivers fighting for a podium in TCR, and it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Vile, and he has gained about a second on Vile. They were right up close to each other, remember. But unfortunately for Vile, he's fallen behind Samuli Kumo, who has not had the greatest pace this season, and has fallen 40 seconds behind De Silva, over 40 seconds. And he's not even come into pit yet. That is a big old gap for the Finn.
That is a big old gap for the Finn. So he's got a lot of work to do. Hellman's on the side and rear of his car. So great to see some of these decals this week. Some of them look beautiful as well. I still have that blue one there of Gardner. Fowler, sorry, Justin from Gavin Gardner still wins, don't worry. Stick still out the pit lane. Desi is in. Ramsey and Duvlay Carpenter all in as well. So Stick's really going long here in this race and feeling that he's got that momentum to just keep going and driving this car to its best of its ability. Engel, I'm not sure if he has pitted. There he goes, the time screen changes now. So Engel will be coming round the back part of this circuit. Ramsey, Duvlay and Carpenter are all still in pit lane. 27 seconds for Engel. That is Desi, who is now away. And now Duvlay, did he drop just before Rampazoo there? No. So ignore me. But Dominic Engel, though, has got past Carpenter in the pits and is on his way down in towards turn 1. But he's got a bit of TCR traffic between himself and that of Duvlay. So Engel, there he is in the background, just not being able to get onto the rear end of Duvlay and Ramsey through the pits.
No, and that's why the pit stops around here are absolutely huge. So that's strapped just behind Duvlay, by the way. He nearly got ahead of the Frenchman, but just couldn't manage to do it. Pascal Stitz has come into the pits as well, along with some of the final TCR guys as well. De Silva, Tranquilin, Graziano, Bonacorsi as well. Everyone is now coming in for their first and last stops. Pascal Stitz, let's just see how big of a gap he's going to have once he comes out of the pits. Of course, Desi, everyone else has come in for their pit stops. He was about a minute ahead when we came in for his pit stop, and out comes the TCRs, as they don't need as much fuel as these guys do. There goes Tranquilin, and one of the lapped BMWs, I believe that's Herb Howe, who we've mentioned a couple of times, has not had the best of races, and that was his second stop, and nice and calmly got out of the way of our leader. And Styx has still got a big old gap. It's now 16 seconds. My God, this man is on another planet today.
He's on another mission. Engel, by the way, 3 seconds behind Duvlay after the pit stop, so he's managed to bring that gap. In fact, he's brought that gap down even more to Duvlay there then. So that's going to be interesting to see as they go through. That's now just under 3 seconds. Gavin Gardner actually lost a lot of time to De Silva in the pits. He was within a couple of tenths of him before the pit stops. He's now opened that gap up to a couple of seconds. And there are the fastest laps of the race. Vile with the fastest lap in TCR and Tranquilin, who's looked pretty dominant. We've not seen the Honda look this comfortable all season, have we, in TCR category? But today, Tranquilin in that Honda looks rather comfortable over Graziano and, you know, the other drivers.
Yeah, and well, Tranquilin, like we've said a couple of times this season, has either been absolutely blitzing the rest of the field or has just been struggling for pace. And tracks like Zandvoort, where unfortunately he had to claw his way through the field, had he started near the front or maybe on pole, he would have just shot away from everyone else. But yeah, today he did start up the front and, well, he's doing exactly what I said he'd do, and he's just pulling away further and further from the rest of the grid, and I believe is the only Honda left in TCR. I don't think anyone else is using the Honda Civic, unfortunately. It's a fairly good looking car, and it's a damn sight better looking than the original Hyundai. That thing just doesn't really look like a TCR, as Graziano drifting his way through turn 5. Good car control though from the Italian, and maybe a bit of a poo in pants moment for the Italian.
Yes, indeed so, as he managed to hold on to the car, sliding as he came uphill. He's trying to close down that gap to the Honda, though. He's not really had the advantage over Tranquilin today, but he's looking to make sure he gets that back in this race. And you're right, there was a few Hondas early doors, but we seem to have lost them as the season has gone on. Tranquilin, the only Honda that is left. And it's great to see him out on the circuit. So 2.2 seconds, Duvlay to Engel. So since Duvlay's pitted, Engel has been able to close that gap down just a little bit, and he's looking good value for his money at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. And, well, the gaps with everyone has just started to increase a little bit, and it doesn't look like we're going to be getting any intense fighting for the lead in most of our categories, unfortunately. The closest one is Graziano and Tranquillin, and maybe if Graziano can put the hammer down over the next few laps, he might be able to catch back up to his fellow Italian in front of him. Dovolate has unfortunately lost a bit of time to Rampazoo after those pit stops, and Gavin Gardner as well has lost a lot of time in front of him. So looks like it's going to be a fairly silent last half of this race, and we're just going to be watching out for the odd battle, maybe some cars awkwardly trying to lap each other, like what we're seeing on our screen right now, with Gardner getting sandwiched in between the two Porsches there, as I believe that was the leader and Palic both trying to lap him, and they both managed to do it, just about. But yeah, Gardner probably was thinking, oh god, I don't want to become a Porsche sandwich heading into turn 3, I think it was.
I believe that's Engel and Palic. Not believe one of them is a GT4 AM. One guy that's had a relatively decent comeback is Grossman. I just noticed as the timing screen was bigger there that he's only a couple of seconds off the back of Dubas and Eaton. So he's had a really good comeback drive as Grossman, just proving the pace of his McLaren and himself in that car. That when he gets past that TCR car in front of him, there they are, look. There is Eaton, there is Dubas. So he's on for a few more points in this race. He's had great pace since his lap 1 incident.
Yeah, fair play to Grossman. We know he has fantastic pace, of course, and I would have expected him to come through the midfield again, but unfortunately for him, I don't think he will be getting near the podium, unfortunately. Maybe if something absolutely just crazy happens to him, but we can take a look at what happened on that first lap to Grossman, just in case you've joined us a bit late or maybe didn't see it in time at the start. And well, it was a bit of an awkward one and a bit of a silly one. This is Tailman in the BMW, Palic in the Porsche, and Grossman in the McLaren, and they all unfortunately got sent round, and Tailman and Grossman both getting sent in sync, spinning round quite poetically, funnily enough. Palic got away unscathed in that incident, but you would definitely say it was on him for trying to force his car on the inside there in a closing gap.
I'd love to see if our producer Joshua, as brilliant as he's been all season, can he find us the onboard view of Palic's incident there at turn 1? Because I'd love to see what gap he was kind of looking at, because it was always closing. He taps the rear quarter of Grossman's car, and really it never looked on when you see it from the overhead point of view. So if we can get his onboard, I think that'd be fantastic. And Joshua's done a brilliant job all season behind the scenes. You guys don't get to hear his lovely voice, but he has been informing us all season of how much what's been happening and where it's been happening and all the replays. He's done a great job as Grossman now going down the inside in towards that final chicane over Eaton, and that is going to be easy work for Ronald. Grossman then up another position, and that was relatively light work there. Dubas didn't fancy defending that one too much going into that chicane, as I believe we can take a look at that replay of Palic at the beginning of the race. So this is what happened as we've just seen a minute ago. And this is where I'm interested. So Sticks has gone. He absolutely dropped it. This is Palic's view. I'm wondering, is that more on Grossman than Palic?
Well, we can always take another look at it. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of thinking the same as well. Here's a bit of a slower shot, and
I think Grossman comes across the front of him.
I guess. That's a really difficult one. That's genuinely one of the most difficult ones that I've ever seen. That's really... I mean, I guess in that situation you might call it a racing incident, but it's the start of a race, and you can kind of see Palic move to the right. Grossman moved a bit to the left. But in fairness to Grossman, he's staying in his lane,
Yes.
That, you know,
Yes.
where he's meant to be. So you can't really put that on Grossman. It's
No. Yes.
it's
In
a
it
bit
from
of
the
a,
in it from the above kind of angle now, you can kind of see that he is in his lane, and really Palaszczuk should have backed off. It's the start of the race. Everybody jostling for position, and you don't want to get involved in them too early. Speaking of Grossman, though, great move out the chicane, tucks underneath, through at the final corner. As easy as you like for the championship leader. He moves up into P5. He's got 7 seconds, though, to get onto the back of Carpenter. That'll be some work in 17 minutes. But hey, if anybody can do it, Grossman can do it. He is on a mission at the moment. He won't probably get a podium. That is some 19 seconds. He's got to take a second, just over a second a lap out of Engel. That's going to be a big ask.
I think it would be more than a big ask, to be honest. I think he should be crowned champion right there and there if he gets a podium, to be honest. 20 seconds in 17 minutes. I mean, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I think maybe he could catch up to Carpenter. That is possible, but he would need a little bit of luck on his side. And well, with the TCR that's in front of him right now, he's not getting it at all. He's just lost a couple of tenths behind him. Gets a good exit, though, and can storm his way down this back straight and just focus on the task ahead at hand. They're both in the McLaren, though, so again, no car advantage there at all as Carpenter goes past Gavin Gardner, who's had a pretty decent race up in second, but has fallen just a little bit short of De Silva when they were so close at the start of this race. But yeah, Doverley as well, just noticed, has closed on Rampazzo. Maybe Doverley has put the hammer down. And when they came out of the pits, it was about 3 seconds, and now it's about 1.8. So if Doverley can get himself into the slipstream of Rampazzo ahead, or who knows, we could have a fight for GT4. That's going to help him. It was.
Yeah, indeed, that's going to help him. Just as you speak about it, Rampazzo makes the mistake then, and like you say, Doverley is hopefully going to creep onto the back of him here. This is a replay of what happened. He's come uphill, and he just collects that curb there, up over the curb on the right, curb on the left. Does he go a little wide? Yeah, you just see a bit of understeer wide on exit, clips the gravel, and it just unsettles that car a little bit, and he ends up onto the grass. So not maybe as bad as it could have been, because we saw earlier a car bouncing into the wall at that part of the circuit, but definitely worth losing a couple of tenths over. And really a mistake that he made. He was not lapping a car. He was under no pressure from behind. He made that all on his own. So possibly just starting to feel a bit of pressure maybe going into that last 15 minutes.
Definitely could be. That's what I think it is. You know, you see that relative of the driver behind slowly come down each lap. It starts to get to your head. You're just like, oh God, it could happen any moment. One mistake and it's closed right up. And well, luckily for Rampazzo, he's going to get a bit of a break as this TCR is getting in Doverley's way through this very fast, tricky section. And, wow, that's definitely going to be annoying the Frenchman as he has just lost about half a second, unfortunately. And, well, this is what traffic does. And this is the part of multi-class that some people do find a little bit frustrating. There's Strat following his way through. So Strat has been remarkably patient this whole race. He's just sat behind these two and just relaxed. Yeah. He's not doing anything. He's sitting in third in class right now, and is the only driver now who can score points for Delatraz Automotive in that team's championship. Let's not forget, it was rather close up at the top between Delatraz and Corson Racing. So Strat's their last hope for this race, unfortunately.
Strat in P3, doesn't look like he's going to catch Desi for P2, but he has got Palaszczuk only a couple of seconds off the back. Doverley leads. So Rampazzo has had a moment coming through the chicane. Under no pressure. Well, he was lapping a few TCR cars. That was Tranquillin, who we know has been involved in an incident with a TCR, with a GT4 car before. And now Strat has got past Doverley.
He's losing so much time.
Let's take a look then. So Rampazzo putting a lap on Tranquillin. We saw it Imola. Tranquillin get involved with a GT4 car. Oh, and he does. He taps the rear. Oh, you do not need to do anything like that. And Tranquillin again. Oh, what has the Honda done there?
Oh, that's Yeah, that's
This onboard
really
transport
poor.
strat. And you just see Tranquil in there, just push him around, look.
Yeah, that's and well, I mean that's killed Tranquilin's lead, and he's got Graciano really close behind him, and that was one of the most silly things I think I've seen all season. Admittedly, we've seen some
third as well in category there. Dominic Engels got past. Look at this again. Look, this is Tranquilin. Oh, you just don't need to do that. You just do not need to. He had such a gap over the car behind. Just ease off the throttle. Don't put the power down through the chicane. And he just drives into the back of him. That is just so bizarre. So bizarre. I know that if anybody that I know is watching this broadcast right now, I'm going to get it in the neck for Honda drivers doing Honda driver things. Not all Honda drivers do that, guys. Let me just make that clear.
well,
right? I will just point that out there. But Dovley leads this GT4 RAM race from Dominic Engel. Rampazoo's down to third. Carpenter a little way behind. Again. Oh, who's that? That's Kumo's a little slow in his Audi.
Yeah,
he's getting right out the way. I believe he's just trying to avoid the GT4 cars. Does not want to do what Franklin has done, as he nearly chops the nose off of the PCR leader. And now we've got a battle on between Graziano and Tranquilin up the hill as they're going to try and lap the Audi. The engine's in the Hyundai is in the Honda. You can see the engine and everything doing all its glory. And still, Tranquilin manages to hang on to Graziano, but you have to say the stewards are probably going to penalise Tranquilin for that one, and Graziano will more than likely take this win.
Yeah, definitely. I think Tranquilin will. I'd be surprised if he doesn't feel a little bit of guilt. That's one of the moments as a driver where you're just like, oh, what on earth am I doing?
Yeah.
But, well, here we go. The last 10 minutes between these two. And Graziano's been waiting for this kind of opportunity. He's got to go for the move. Looks down the inside, but thinks better of it. Interesting choice, considering he knows he's not been as quick as Tranquil in this entire race. I mean, admittedly, I would have gone for that. I would have absolutely sent it.
Full send, late on the brakes. Yeah.
I would have sent it into that chicane, but Graziano thinking better of it than I would. But here we go again between Tranquilin and I mean, like you said, it's just Tranquilin just should have backed out. Just let him go. It's not even really.
What's even more annoying, Aaron, is he just like keeps his foot in just to fully turn him around. He doesn't seem to like avoid him. It's like, hurry up and move there, get out my way. I've got a race to win myself. And he just fully turns him around. It's like a moment of madness for Tranquilin in this race.
Yeah.
And we saw it at Imola. He made contact with the GT4 car. I'm blanking on who it was. Could it have been Tailman, possibly? Because I think Lundy won at Imola.
I think it was, yeah.
And he made contact at the chicane, coming down towards Ravat, just before Ravatsa. And it was, again, we sat there then and said, what are you doing?
He has had a couple brain fart moments this season, to be honest, and that definitely is one of them. And has put most of us in a state of shock, to be honest. It's ruined the brewing battle for P1 that we were definitely getting excited for. I mean, it's given us another battle, I guess, between these two, but yeah, I still think Tranquilin has got the better pace on Graziano, which makes me even more shocked that Graziano didn't go for that move, to be honest. It was his best chance and just thought, nah, I'm going to stay behind. Maybe he thinks that he deserves second, I don't know.
Well, either that or doesn't want to be tapped around at the chicane. Yeah, it just the mind boggles at times. This is Ian Manners, though. He is in his he is in the Hyundai, chasing down that of Viola. Viola's really dropped off of pace because he was in a fight with Fowler earlier on in this race, who then was it Fowler or was it Vila? He was in a fight with one of them earlier in the race, and now it was Vila. And Vila got ahead of Viola and drove off into the distance. Viola hasn't gone with him and is now in this battle with Manners, down for 5th and 6th in class, both in the Hyundais, as they see a couple of the GT4 cars coming through the final corner. I believe that is possibly Pascal Sticks as well in the background. Start yet another lap. I wonder how Grossman's gap is in class. I wonder what that looks like. I'd be interested to see if he has gained anything over Carpenter in that last 10 or so minutes. He has. It was 10 seconds. 7 seconds? It was 7 seconds. It's now 3 for Grossman in GT4 RAM. So this is fantastic. Yeah, TCR Pro, they're side by side of Tranquilin and Graziano in the chicane. And all nice and clean. And they've got... Is that the silver behind them? No? Not quite sure who that is. It is an
Audi.
But it is not De Silva.
I think it's one of the lapped guys, to be honest. And there goes Graziano up the inside of Tranquilin. Tranquilin goes very wide. Is this going to be the lead of the race for Graziano? He's not quite fully alongside, and Tranquilin just about holds on to that position. And now we'll have to let a GT4 McLaren behind. That is Carpenter. And, well, that's going to be a bit awkward. I think the GT4 is just going to wait for a clean opportunity to get past both of them, since he does not want to get involved in this at all. And Tranquilin, using all of the available space on the right-hand side, lets them both through. And that just goes to show the speed difference between those two. Honestly, it's it's just mental when you really see it in front of your eyes. But Graziano now has another chance to try and get past Tranquilin. He's tucked into the slipstream nicely and is going to have to basically go all the way until the end of this straight and pull out at the last possible moment. The slipstream in these cars isn't amazingly powerful, but it's powerful enough that Graziano can do this. Not again. He's being more patient than I would be. I'll say that. He's being a lot more patient than I'd be if I was in his position. But maybe that's why he's a better driver than me. I don't know. But I mean, in fairness, Graziano is being very patient and seems to be matching fairly well on pace. That's Grossman, who nearly buggered that corner up going into the last corner as he now tries to lap Tranquilin. Grossman ought to try and lap the Honda driver before we get to turn 2. And, well, he's going to be patient and just let the Honda driver go. As Tranquilin is pushing a lot, you can tell by the back of that Honda that he is on the limit of that car. And, well, I don't really blame him, to be honest, as Grossman's sliding his way through turn 5 and lost a lot of time. So this is not only costing Grossman a bit of time, as he's on his mission to catch up to 4th, it's also maybe hurting Tranquilin a little bit, putting him... his mind a bit of stress, but it's also hurting Graziano as well. He's lost a lot of time. Yeah. Behind it's now 8/10 last lap coming through that corner. It was 2.
That's as if Grossman there has pushed Tranquilin a little further up the circuit down that straight after the first sector, because he's now, like you say, got that gap has massively opened up to Graziano coming down this back straight. But Carpenter won't mind that at all. Going into the final 4.5 minutes, that's put Grossman on the back foot over Carpenter, because he was really gaining hand over fist with 15 to go. And there's still time for him to possibly catch, but he's got work to do, and he's just made that work a little harder. Graziano here. Is he overly bothered? He's got a great championship lead. Second place will do. Possibly knows he's going to win this race through penalties. Is that why he's maybe not being as aggressive to ruin his race, even though Riviera's 11 seconds behind? He's possibly just thinking of banking them points, holding station.
Could be, possibly. I mean, he did go wheel to wheel on 1 lap, so he definitely wants to win this race, but it's just a question of can he do it now with a bit of a gap ahead of him. And well, it looks like something's happened to Viola. Unfortunately for him, so I think we'll have a look at a replay as there's one of the Porsches getting past, and here's Ian Manners, who might have been involved. He's one of the drivers ahead, so just keep an eye. And Viola has disappeared from existence, and I think Viola's had internet problems and just completely left, as Graziano now has fallen completely out of the wayside. And yeah, it looks like the battle for GTR Pro has well and truly gone.
Yeah, it was good while it lasted, but shame for Viola there. He has just magically disappeared, and yeah, that will give Ian Manners another place in this race. And at the moment, so your race leaders, Pascal Stix, dominant again in the GT4. Who's that in the pit lane? The Porsche that has just lapped. That is... Eaton, who's had a great fight with Dubas. He's underfueled there, definitely. Definitely underfueled. What a shame. He's had a great race with Dubas all day. Toby Johns is a little behind Eaton at the moment. And he's in a fight with Grob. Coming down towards the chicane. Grob's not close enough at the moment. Coming into the final part of the circuit then as they come round now. They're going to be flat out. Here is Toby Johns, the Englishman. Where is Eaton? He's already out the pits and back on his way. So that is that over. He's just underfueled by a couple of laps.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, it's only cost him a position, so he had the time and space to do it. And yeah, like you said, it was a fantastic battle between himself and Dubar. And well, it's unfortunate that unfortunately he will lose out on that one, mainly because he just underfueled a tiny bit. But here's Pascal Stix, who, I mean, you know, we've already said this a couple of times this race. We've said it a few times at the Nordschleife. I mean, he's just been outstanding. And kind of makes you wonder, you know, what would have been had he maybe put a bit more time and effort into the other rounds this season. You know, could he have
a lot more? But I say that, but he's going to be right with Telman going into Spa. One thing I did notice was Carpenter and Grossman are pretty close. It was about a second last time around. There is the gap between Carpenter and Grossman. And we are on the penultimate lap. We're going to get the white flag as Stix is going to cross the line momentarily. Grossman is in full attack mode here, coming through the first sector. Back up the hill they go. Right in that slipstream now of Carpenter. We said it'd be impressive if he was to get P4. And he's had a great comeback drive. He's picked up several places. And he's now looking to get one more, as I believe we are on, or going to be on the final lap. Now, I believe Stix has crossed the line. And yes, he has. There he is in the first sector. So we are on the final lap. So he's got one more to go, his Grossman. And that's going to be interesting to see him try to have that fight with Dan Carpenter towards the end of this race.
It would be interesting to see how much Carpenter actually chooses to fight this, as Grossman trying to look up the inside, but just is not close enough on this lap. So like you say, they'll come around these final few corners and they'll have one more to go as Grossman gets a nice exit there. Is this going to be Grossman's chance? I think it will be, coming around the final corner. And Bosch, overtake done. We thought it would be an intense final lap, and well, just Carpenter, I think, went too deep into that chicane, and unfortunately just did not get a good enough exit. Grossman says, thank you very much, I'll take P4. And like you say, it was a very, very impressive comeback drive for him, as he was dead and buried. Remember, twice he had that incident on the start-finish straight, and then had a second one with Tailman. And, well, he's done a fantastic job to finish P4, but Pascal Stix has done an even better job of just leading every single lap from start to finish, comes around the final corner and wins here at Road Atlanta, very much taking the fight to Lucas Tailman until that final round. Don't know what the points difference will be between those two, but Pascal Stix has given it his best, and we will keep an eye out for him in 1 week's time at Spa-Francorchamps. And here comes Dissesi in P2. He's been rather quiet. We've literally not mentioned him at all this race.
We haven't.
P2 for the Hungarian. I think his best finish so far this season.
A little under the radar today, but that's what he needs to do. Strat will take home that P3. Just behind him, Dovley will take the win in GT4, and from Dominic Engel then. And you have to feel for Rampazoo, really, who's going to come across, I believe, in the background, just crossing the line now. Shame for Rampazoo, but great job for Engel and Dovley to take the race win and second place, as we get Russ Fowler has taken P3 in TCR Amps. That is one podium place decided. We are just awaiting the top three. Tranquillin will cross the line, race winner, on track. Many believe that will be looked at and penalised in the stewardry, but he wins in TCR Pro from Graziano. Bonacorsi on the last lap has got past Riviera. What has happened to Riviera right at the very end of this race? There's a lot of cars there involved. There is Bonacorsi. Da Silva is then going to win the TCR AM category. He's crossed the line now, and then it's Gavin Gardner who comes home second place. But what happened to Riviera at the very end? There is Benjamin Da Silva. Great win for him. And Gavin Gardner, good second place. But what happened to Riviera at the very end of that one? That's going to be one to look at. And I believe we can find out now as Joshua works his magic. What a race it has been. Sticks from Desi, from Strat, with Dovley, Engel, Rampazoo, Tranquil Graziano, and Bonner Corsi. This is what happened at the end of TCRM. So this is coming down, the spectators on the edge of their seats, coming into that final chicane. Riviera up the inside as they lap one of the Audis. Oh, he's been pushed wide by Bonner Corsi. Well, I tell you what, Aaron, he went full send into that corner.
Well, I mean, he took the Gran Turismo line that the AI do and just acted like he wasn't there. I mean, this is bizarre. He goes up the inside, which is already suspicious enough, and just runs him off the road. I did not know we were playing.
I've not seen anything more touring cars than that. That is Jason Plato, Matt Neal vibes right there from back in the olden days of BTCC back in the noughties. That is classic touring cars. That is up the inside. There's half a car's width, and any TCR driver, yep, that's enough for me. And bang, out the way. I'll take the podium. I believe he won't keep that podium.
No, that's actually genuinely one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen on this game. Fair play, like you say, that's completely touring cars, and in real life maybe it would be allowed. I don't know, but I don't think it's allowed on iRacing to completely shove your opponent off of the track and put them nearly in the wall. So we'll review that next week and see if he keeps that podium. But it's fun and entertaining nonetheless.
We can all laugh about it. That then is the end of the race and the penultimate end of the end of the penultimate race. And what a night. Tellman not finishing, Sticks winning the race. Absolutely phenomenal. We'll get the final classification on the screen momentarily. But what a track and what a race it has been here at Road Atlanta. We head to Spa-Francorchamps next week for the finale then of the Sports Car Championship, GT4s and TCRs. We'll also bring you a couple of driver interviews momentarily. There's a few drivers waiting to be brought in. And the final classifications then are as follows. Pascal Sticks wins the race and category for GT4 Pro from Desi and Strat, your top three. Dovley P4 on the road. He also wins in class for GT4 Am. Palish was P5 with Dominic Engel and Rampazoo rounding out the podium for the GT4s. Grossman from Carpenter, Dubas, Eaton Johns, Grob, Herpo, and Hendrik Zielke, probably butchered that, was 15th. Tranquil in 16th place, race winner in TCR for now. Graziano was 17th. Bonner Corsi. This podium could look so different come tomorrow morning. Tranquilin and Bonner Corsi will probably receive penalties. Riviera 19th place. De Silva, though, the winner in TCR and from Gavin Gardner, Russ Fowler, Lars Vila, Ian Manners, Dewhurst, Gilmore, Colley and Kumo bringing up the rear then. That was a interesting night's worth of racing, Aaron, and I believe we can speak with a couple of drivers.
Indeed we can, and I think it would be rude not to talk with the man who, I mean, like I said, doesn't really need to be talking about to me. It's too much. Pascal Sticks, welcome back. It's 2 weeks in a row you've been here, and another dominant win by you. We literally saw you a couple times this race, at the start, during the pit stops, and then at the end. Just absolutely mental. How do you feel?
Yeah, pretty much the same as last week. So it's just an unfortunate incident at the start, it seems, and all the fast guys were involved, I think, and it was just lonesome driving at the front.
Yeah, and we were hoping that maybe it could have been a battle between you and Tailman this race, but it looks like that's going to go to the final round. And well, now I believe you have an outside chance of winning the Drivers' Championship. And well, are you going to be absolutely full sending it at Spa next weekend?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think I kind of need another race like this one, but I'm gonna try everything I can, and could have been a great race today against him, but I'm sure we will have the great race next week. Yeah,
I'm definitely looking forward between a race between you and him next week. And it could just be down to the championship. Well, speaking of Spa, how do you feel towards that track? Do you think it will be one where you can show a similar pace where you have done the last 2 weeks?
I'm not completely sure. I really like Spa, but in prototypes, and GT4s are a lot slower in the corners, and let's see. It's definitely a challenge, also with the off tracks, but yeah. Normally I don't feel quite as confident as around here, but I will practice and then we will see.
Yeah, hopefully you can show some similar levels that you have over the past few weeks. And before you let you go, Pascal, anyone you want to give a shout out to for this win?
Again, my teammates for practicing with me and keeping me company during the race.
Always good to have your team support side by side during the race. Well, thank you, Pascal, for coming having a quick chat with us. And we'll go let you celebrate this beautiful win now. And congratulations and good luck for next week.
Thank you.
Very happy with that was Pascal Sticks, and I believe we can hear from Dovley as well. The winner in GT4 AM. And here he is now. Leo, that was an interesting race. The win kind of given to you at the end there.
I'm really happy for this race, but all this race in the season was unlucky for me. But I lose all qualify and I crash all the race. It's a really good surprise for me to win this race.
You were sitting quite close to Ramsu before the round of pit stops, and then it was after that he seemed to have a bit more pace than you. What happened after your pit stops?
Because I chose to change 3 tires, and
Okay.
I saw the other drivers take the choice to not to change tires, and I am really feeling I'm a really good feeling with the car, but the tire is really good for the end of the race.
So obviously the change of tyre is clearly the strategy you thought about before the race. How did you feel when you saw the TCR Honda sort of spin Rampezu around? Because you almost got caught up in that incident and had to take to the grass to avoid him.
The traffic is really hot on this track, but is a chance, is a luck for me. The crash with other people. I really happy for that. I'm happy for the win.
Indeed, we head to Spa next week. Are you looking forward to that circuit?
Yes, I work for Spa in the end of the season, and I attend to play in front of the split.
Oh, there we go. Anybody you'd like to thank for tonight?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, all of us. Everybody. Anyone else you would like to speak to, Aaron?
I guess we can grab one more interview, and I guess we can throw DeSessi into here, as he had a pretty good race. Welcome into the commentary booth, DeSessi. It was a bit of a quiet race from you, but you grabbed your best finish of the season.
Yes, hi everyone. Thanks. Yeah, it was just survive at the start, keep P2, and then it was just trying to maintain the pace. I also had good luck with the traffic, no issues there either, so I'm pretty happy with the result.
Yeah, seems like one of those ones where you just stay clean, stay quiet, and grab a good result. Heading into the final round next season, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy season to you. How do you feel going into Spa?
Yeah, Spa is one of my favorite and I think most successful tracks, so I'm hoping to get into maybe a top 3 position as well there. We'll see.
Judging by today, anything can happen. Who knows? You might grab a shock win at the last round. We'll have to wait and see. But just looking back on this season as well, so far anyway, how do you think it's gone for yourself?
Yeah, well, I didn't do too well in the first 2 qualifying sessions in Sebring and and I think Zandvoort, so the race was basically over at the start. I just wanted to catch up to the pack, and yeah, that went well. Also, I made a mistake on the Nordschleife last week, which I wasn't too happy about, which was basically gonna be my best race result so far. But yeah, overall, I'm happy I can be in the top 5 positions in each race, even if I make a mistake and end up behind.
Well, you've definitely shown some impressive pace at points in the season, and especially today. Well, speaking of Spa, how do you feel about Spa as a whole? It's definitely going to be a lot more chaotic track-wise than it was today.
Well, I hope not. Like, I like to do some good racing, and I don't want to get ahead by people crashing out. So I'm just hoping everybody will be more patient, as it's the last race, and we can have a good close pack.
Yeah, I think that's what most of us want, to be fair. I think today was a bit of an anomaly for just mentalness at the start. But thank you for coming and speaking with us, Disessi. And before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just my team, Really Slow Motion Racing. We're a Hungarian team, and yeah, we are doing our best to get the name out there.
Well, thank you for coming and have a chat with us, and good luck for the final round next week.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys.
And that then is all we have time for here tonight on Apex Racing TV. What a night of action here at Road Atlanta. We head though to the season finale next week at the circuit Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. The Ardennes Forest will be our location. It's going to be a season finale, and what a track to end it on. It could all happen there for the championships. Don't forget to tune into that one next week. And we have plenty of action on Apex Racing TV throughout the week, so make sure you tune into all that as we go through the week heading into the season finale of the Sportscar Cup next time out. Aaron, pleasure as always to be with you in the commentary box tonight.
Yeah, likewise. It's been just a mental race today once again, and hopefully, like Disessi was saying, hopefully next week it will be less chaotic, but just more wheel-to-wheel action, as I think we definitely need a bit more of that to round off the season.
Indeed we do. We'll see you next time out, though, in Belgium for Spa-Francorchamps. See you next time. Goodbye.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www